Hello, I'm Dennis Linkletter, owner and creator of Komodo Kamado Grills. Welcome to my home in Bali, Indonesia. Today I'm going to talk to you about Komodo Kamado basics. And so first I would like to bring it back to Kamado. What is a Kamado? A Kamado is an earthenware cooking vessel from Japan. And the most traditional, famous of these would be the Mushi Kamado, which was a Japanese rice cooker. And these have evolved into a barbecue and grill that has a glazed ceramic pot, top and bottom, straps around the middle with a hinge, airflow control top and bottom, and grates inside. And these grills have become extremely popular because they simply produce incredible food. And the reason for this is if you compare them to a metal grills just radiate heat. They're a sieve. So when you have a cook in a metal grill, you end up burning much more fuel to maintain your cooking temperatures. And at night, when the temperatures drop, it's difficult to maintain stability. So these glazed ceramic pots have thermal mass. They have this volume in the walls. And I've taken the principle of having this mass in the walls and amplified it. And so what I'm using is high alumina refractory cements. And what these are is how industry contains high temperatures. Every molten metal and glass, every nuclear facility uses these cements. So what I've done, this is my 32-inch Big Bad, is I've used this high alumina cement for my hot face. And so I have a 1-inch hot face, which of course is much more volume than a glazed ceramic pot. And then that's followed up by a vermiculite insulation. And vermiculite is those little gold spongy stones you find in potting mix. Think of Rice Krispie Crunchies made out of high alumina cement and vermiculite. And we also throw in aerogel, which is a hydrophobic silica from Cabot. It's extremely high performance insulation. And then we spray the whole grill with a layer of a NASA spin-off acrylic that has nanoceramic spheres, and it's elastomeric, which means it expands and contracts when it's heated. It can move. We use this material as this jacket, but we also use it as the adhesive and the grout for the durable cosmetic ceramic tiles. So that is the body of the grill, and you may ask, why do we have all these layers of insulation and so much material? You know, we're going from a 175-pound glazed ceramic pot to 560-pound grill. So the reason we do this is simply for performance, and performance in a grill or a smoker means better barbecue, and I'll explain. Charcoal always burns at the maximum volume for the allowed airflow. If you can burn less fuel to maintain your cooking temperature, you'll have less airflow. Less airflow means less evaporation. And bingo, you have more retained moisture in your meat, which of course is the holy grail of low and slow cooking. How do you keep moisture in your meat on a long 8 to 10, 12-hour cook? Think of two big chunks of meat. You got a hair dryer on high and a hair dryer on low. The hair dryer on low is just going to basically have much more retained moisture. Not only are you going to get more retained moisture, but when charcoal burns, there's a vapor that's released, and the vapor is the smoke flavor. So common sense would dictate that if you had more retention time of this vapor, you'll have more condensation. Condensation is how this vapor and the flavor is transferred to your meat. So simply put, insulation, less airflow, more retained moisture, more flavor, that's simply better barbecue by design. You don't have to do anything to get these results. So that's the beauty of the Komodo Kamado, is extremely efficient. To give you an idea, this grill with my dense coconut shell charcoal at 235 degrees Fahrenheit will burn for 150 hours. Not that you're ever going to have a cook that long, but it shows you how little airflow we're talking about. So another story about insulation. So in my Instagram, there's a photograph that a customer sent me of a blue 23-inch grill that he left outside, and it has a teepee of snow on top. And I said, "Oh, okay, that's sort of attractive, you know, the blue and the little cap on top." And then the next photograph, he's digging through the snow in the front. And then the last photograph is the thermometer. It's 265 degrees. He's cooking, and the snow is staying on top. You go back to the first photograph, and you can see a little bit of blue smoke coming out. It's that efficient. Even at 750 degrees when you're doing pizzas, you're not going to leave your hand there, but you can touch the grill without blistering yourself. To give you an idea, the glazed pot Kamados are a metal grill, 100, 200 degrees, you're already in big trouble. So that's the body. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about the different components, and I'm going to show you where they're installed in the grill and how they perform. And I'm going to start off over here with my charcoal basket splitter. This, like all components of the Komodo Kamado, is 304 stainless. We have 3/8-inch rods in the bottom, 1/4-inch rods in the basket. As you can see, all the ends are fitted. These are all TIG welded. You know, overbuilt and over-engineered is our motto. Inside here is our charcoal basket splitter, and this does two things. It lets you cook on a reduced volume of charcoal when you're grilling. You know, you can set this at any adjustment you want, and it also creates what's called two-zone cooking. And two-zone cooking is where you have a shielded side and you have your screaming hot side. Remember, the grilling grate is low over here. You can casually drag your food in and out between the two sides. Cooking 2 steaks, 3 steaks, 4 steaks, you can custom adjust the volume you're cooking on. All the way to this much. You still have your 2-zone. Also, if it's a real hot day outside, like it is here in Bali, it's really nice to stand on the right-hand side of the grill, so as you're reaching into the grill working, you're not having the heat coming up and hitting your body. It's a real relaxed way to sear at screaming hot temperatures. So that's the charcoal basket. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to install it inside the grill and talk about airflow. So, like all Kamado grills, there's a firebox around the outside. Now, this firebox is very unique in that it's sealed around the outside between the wall of the grill and the firebox, and there's no holes in the firebox to let air bypass the charcoal. Almost every, in fact, I think every charcoal grill I've seen, they have what I call a path of least resistance. They have this gap between the wall of the grill, and it lets air come around the charcoal. And the reason for this is that when you have air exiting the chimney, it's creating vacuum. Now, vacuum is forced airflow. Forced airflow, whether it's vacuum or whether it's being blown, charcoal with forced airflow can get extremely hot. You remember the Bronze Age was from charcoal. So we can get up 1,800, 2,000 degrees, which is simply detrimental to a metal or a glazed pot Kamado. So because I have this industrious high temp hot face, in fact, the service temperature for this material is 2,200 degrees, which means it's designed to run in 2,200 degrees day in, day out. So because I have that, I'm not really worried about these high temperatures, and I prefer more performance. And how I got performance was I sealed it. All of the air that leaves the chimney is forced through the charcoal, which means when you light your charcoal and you close the lid, that hot air exiting, creating vacuum, is forcing air through the draft door down below and through your charcoal, which means it gets the charcoal going much faster. So another one of the challenges with the traditional charcoal grills is that when you have a full basket of charcoal and you're starting your cook, you light your charcoal, you set your dampers top and bottom, you get it all dialed in, stable, 235, 250 degrees, whatever you're doing. You have air going through the charcoal, you have air going around the charcoal, but the air going through the charcoal has resistance. And so let's call that resistance X. As you burn through your fuel, that volume of resistance goes down, which means, of course, more air starts going through the charcoal, which means more charcoal starts burning and your temperatures creep up on you. So it's hard to keep stable temps when the airflow going through your charcoal keeps changing. So the beauty of the Komodo Kamado is it doesn't matter how much charcoal is in your basket. Whatever the setting is on the damper top, it's going to create that same temperature until you run out of fuel. So that's airflow management, firebox. The differences in other charcoal grills and the Komodo Kamado. And so while I have this open, I'm going to show you our rotisserie setup. So out here on the side accessory plate, this is where we can bolt in our motors for our rotisseries, hangers, side tables. But here we have a socket for the rotisserie drive shaft. It's got a shaft through the body with needle bearings, and then a socket on the inside. Over here on the left, we have a sleeve with a spring-loaded plate. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our rotisserie spit and we're going to press it into the spring-loaded plate. It's going to just barely clear this side, and then when it goes into the socket here, it goes back in. The spring-loaded plate takes up the gap. The motor spins the shaft, and your rotisserie spins, but it's completely airtight. You can do it with the lid closed. You want to take it out, push to the left, pull it out. It's really simple. So the Komodo Kamado comes standard with 3 grates that you can cook on 4 different positions. The lowest position for screaming hot searing is going to be the upper grate flipped over, and I'm going to install that now. So this is the upper grate, about 3-4 inches above a full basket of charcoal. As you can imagine, this is going to be screaming hot, and this is where you're going to, if you want to just hit something hot and fast, blacken, this is the place to do it. So this is the lowest level, which is about, halfway between the firebox and the lower grate. This is where the lower grate is going to be. This is where the main grate is going to be. And this grill flipped over on these legs is going to sit up about this high above. So we have 4 levels here. So now I'm going to install the lower grate. So the lower grate is 304 stainless, of course, 3/8 inch rods. As you can see, they're all fitted to the shape of the grill. I love fit and finish. TIG welded. They have this door in the front so you can access your charcoal during a cook without moving all your food out and pulling the grates out. It's nice to have that access. So this is where you're going to be doing most of your grilling. Unless it's Wagyu or prime and it's just pouring oil, you're going to be just out of the flames at this height. So this is a great height and a great position for most grilling, direct grilling. And as you can see, you adjust your charcoal basket splitter, and you can cook on reduced volumes and reduced surface area. And so another thing we're going to be doing down here is we're going to be creating our indirect cooking and collecting our drippings. So on the glaze pot Kamados, they use plate setters and heat deflectors, and these ceramic plates block your indirect heat, but they also reflect heat back into your firebox. Now, this is actually a good thing, because as the firebox becomes a heat sink, as the ambient temperatures change, and the temperature drops at night, this will help keep the grilled temperature stable. But we really don't need this at all in the Komodo Kamado, because we have this thick hot face and we have so much insulation. So all we do here is to create indirect heat is we throw a piece of foil down, and we want it to be 3 or 4 inches larger than the meat, and then we put a drip pan on top of that, and then now I'm going to put in my main grate. Now the main grate, this one, by the way, is 27 pounds. Main grate, same 3/8 inch. It's got the same door in the front. Now this has a ton of territory. This is 32 inches left to right, 22 inches front to back. And, you know, if you want to do a whole lot of burgers or you want to do a lot of grilling, you could fill this if you wanted to. Low and slow cooking, this is easy to do, you know, 2 briskets. And if this is not enough real estate, you can, for low and slow cooking, we can almost double this by using this upper grate. Same grate we put down below before, we're going to put up top. So now we have another level for your low and slow food. But this is also where the magic happens for browning. So this is where you're going to put your baking stone, your baking steel, you're going to spatchcock your birds. This is the perfect place to take advantage of the ceramic ceiling, or I shouldn't say the ceramic, the heat coming off of the ceiling. If you think about a traditional round grill, you're going to have a donut hole of missing material. When I say missing, if you measure from the grate to the ceiling of the grill, suddenly in the middle, it's missing. The beauty of this design is the chimney's all the way in the back, giving you, 80% of the grate has this super uniform reflective heat. It's incredible for baking bread and pizzas. Anything you want browning, you're going to put up top here. So now I'm going to talk to you about the gasket. This is a German Wagner food grade silicone gasket. And the lip of the grill comes in flat, goes up at a 45 and is flat again. Of course, this is mirrored up top in the lip. And so when we close the lid, they're going to interlock, but the latch has a cam and a bearing in the latch. So when it closes, it catches in the first position, and then we're going to press this firmly towards the body. And as you can see, it squeezes that gasket and makes an perfectly airtight seal. And when it's latched, there's zero airflow over the gasket, which means the gasket doesn't get exposed to any high temperatures, which means it lasts indefinitely if you take care of it. If you latch it at high temperatures, it doesn't break down. It stays good. So over here we have 2 of these, one on both sides of the grill. These are the polder sleeves, and this is where you're going to stick your thermocouple cables through, your thermometer cables through. We also have a food grade silicone plug that goes onto your cables to seal these off while you have the cables installed. But this is an elegant way to deal with the cables. You're not running them in over your gaskets. You use these stainless probes. This down below it here is the faceplate for the food, for the smoke generator. And the smoke generator is a simple way to add clean smoke from the outside of your grill. It's a stainless steel cylinder with a feed tube that uses an aquarium pump with an adjustable air volume. And what this does is it allows you to put your chips or pellets inside, and you can keep them smoldering, which means it's burning off the wood alcohol and the nasty volatiles slowly as it smolders, and it gives you clean smoke from 30 seconds after it's been lit. If you just take wood and throw it on top of the grill, there's not enough oxygen for that wood alcohol to burn cleanly, and so it makes that gray, thick, yellow, nasty smoke that burns your eyes and makes you smell like a forest fire. It's bitter and acrid. In fact, it gives smoking a bad name. My hypothesis is that so much bad smoke is used in barbecue that this is the reason why so many of the store-bought sauces are so high fructose corn syrup sweet. You take a tablespoon in your taste and you gag. And so if you think about a bitter, acrid flavor profile from the smoke mixed with this crazy sweet sauce, you're going to get what? A tangy barbecue flavor. So using this or using a foil pouch to clean up your smoke is a huge game changer. And this is really easy to do. If you're smoking bacon or ham, you want to put a heavy smoke layer on, you can easily keep adding more wood without even opening the grill. And if you're doing a reverse sear on a steak and you want a little additional flavor, bam, throw a little smoke on it. So moving down, this is the faceplate for an inducer tube for a Barbecue Guru, which was the original. And all the other companies, and there's many good ones out there, you can get an adapter to use this for your fan, or you can get a fan that you can simply plug in this that'll go into your temperature control device. This, along with the cable holder tube up above, makes using temperature control devices plug and play ready. No futzing around. So moving over here, this is my lower draft door. CNC cut, digitally folded frame. It's airtight around the outside. These are preset volumes of air resistance we can set. This over here gives you, more air for grilling it. And if you really want to get rid of your resistance, you can just pull it out. And this of course lets air freely come into the grill. Inside the grill in the back, that's an ash screen heat deflector that keeps any hot little pieces of ash that just may happen to roll out the front door from doing that. The beauty of this design for ash removal is that the front draft door is flush to the bottom of the grill. So you can take, I'd like to take just a strip of duct tape, put half on a bag, put the other half on the bottom of the draft door here, and then I can simply sweep from the inside the ash right out the front door into the bag. If there's no breeze, you can put a box underneath and sweep it out into a box. So that's the lower draft door and ash management. The other thing is under the firebox, there is a ton of room. So you can, even if you're cooking every day, you can store weeks and weeks worth of ashes underneath. You just keep packing them to the back and you don't have to empty this all the time. So that is the lower draft door. Okay, underneath these wheels, underneath these legs are 4-inch casters with high-density black rubber. They roll beautifully over flagstone, pavers, bricks, pebbles. They will not roll over grass, gravel, or dirt. If you have to go over grass, gravel, or dirt, you're going to have to leapfrog 2 sheets of plywood. It's not as bad as it sounds, and it travels 8 feet at a time. But so they're definitely on wheels, and they roll very well. So now I'm going to go up, and this is a TrueTel bimetal thermometer. It's the best in the business, and you can recalibrate it by putting it in boiling water and reset the temperature. It's a great instrument. Up here on top is our damper top, and this is where we control basically 90% of the airflow. If it's not leaving here, it's not going through the charcoal. So inside there's a big machined Acme threaded stainless shaft, and when we close this down, when you touch the gasket, you move it 1 inch. That's about 235. That's about 250. It's about 300. So once you have any stable temperature, take a mental or physical note of the position of the ears, and that'll be your temperature every time. It's intuitive. It's so easy to set temperatures once you know what they are. So that's the damper top. This, of course, is self-opening. I like to adjust it so that it will move up if you want it to, but you can also pull it down. If you adjust it so that it completely opens up by itself, that's great. But closing it, you're going to fight the spring. So I like it to be about almost little bit more than neutral. So that's how easily the 160-pound lid moves. And now we're going to walk you to the back of the grill. And in the back of the grill, this is the 304-inch stainless CNC cut digitally folded hinge. And it's got a high carbon steel that's been plated and powder painted. And this is adjustable. You can change the tension at the bottom of the spring. And this is really the magic for the ease of use. It's so easy to open the lid. You're not walking out with a plate full of food and fighting it. It just opens up by itself. So this is my 32-inch Big Bad in bronze metallic tiles. Thank you for staying through the end. I appreciate it, and I look forward to you being back here again. Bye-bye.